me go ahead and accept that. All right. Good morning. My name is David Zimmerman. I am the customer outreach representative at NorthStar MLS. Also sit on the help desk, but outreach, like what I'm doing today, is part of my job, and I interact with agents, attend expos, do different trainings and education, outreach, and other items for NorthStar MLS. So I have been with NorthStar about 3.5 years. It'll be 4 years this fall. So I've been around a little while and have gotten really used to using these systems and interacting with agents all across the board and all across the state and the region. So it's been a pretty rewarding experience, and I really appreciate working with agents and kind of helping them out the best that I can. So I was contacted by Jerry, and I was asked to do a demo on listing input. So what we're going to be focusing on is the ad edit system today. I'm actually going to be hopping into our staging environment. So essentially kind of in an environment where I'm going to be adding listings, but it's not actually going to push them out to the production site. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that everything goes well in that staging environment. We are in the middle of a database redesign. So what I'm showing you today is going to remain consistent with what you're going to see after the new database is released. All of the database stuff is really just on the back end and doesn't really concern our agents or anything like that. It's just really to help us better develop the system. And some of the fields might be a little bit reorganized or formatted slightly differently, but they're going to be in the same order. And again, the field function and everything is going to remain the same. So just want to kind of give you that heads up, because that database redesign is going to be releasing over the weekend of June 5th. So, but with that, I'm going to hop into the ad edit system. So as you can see here, I'm in the matrix system. I'm logged in already. But up at the top, you've got the ad edit option here. This is where all listing input is done and all listing edits are done. So what we have done is we have created this ad edit product that is specific to NorthStar MLS. Our developers have created it. And what it enables us to do is that our ad edit system actually plugs into different front end systems. So it interacts with Matrix, which I'm currently sitting in here, but it also interacts with Flex and Paragon. So those are actually two of Matrix's competitors. They're all different front-end MLS systems. But as we grow as an organization, it's important for us to be able to offer these options to our agents based on their preference. And it also enables these mergers and these kind of collaborations amongst other MLSs to be a little bit more seamless, because they may not use Matrix. They might use Paragon, or they might use Flex. So by having our ad edit system be able to work with all of these front-end systems, it helps those collaborative efforts just work more seamlessly, and it makes it more appealing to want to collaborate with NorthStar MLS if an MLS doesn't currently already do so. So when you do your listing input, you can click on this ad edit link here. And before I actually do that, let me show you. You can actually access ad edit from our main website. So here on our main website, you have all of these logins for the different systems. You can actually log into ad edit directly if you choose. Otherwise, you can log into your preferred front end of choice system. And once you do that, you're going to see this ad edit option up at the top. So when you click on that, it's going to take you into the ad edit system. And if you don't, down here in the right-hand corner is that plus sign. This is where you're going to be able to add your listings. Now, if you don't have this, that is something that you are going to need to obtain. And what that means is that you most likely have a permission level that does not enable you to add your own listings in the system. So, so most likely you have the agent subscriber permission level. So what you would need is you would need the agent edit permission level in order to add and manage your own listings in the system. So if you don't have that, that is something that you are going to need. You're going to need approval from your brokerage, and you'll need to contact your local board, and they will have to update your permission level on your membership record. We unfortunately have no control over permission levels or membership records here at NorthStar. It's all handled at your local board. So again, this is what the ad edit system looks like, and you can actually access this feature as well. Up here at the top, there's this little training tab. So that's actually where I'm going to be demonstrating for you today, because then my listings that I'm adding in the system will not be going out to the production site essentially. So I'm going to hop in here. I'm in the staging environment. You can also use the staging environment if you would like to practice. And again, bear with me. I'm hoping that I don't have any hiccups here today. But for a chance that I do, just please bear with me. So anyway, here in Ad Edit, what you're going to do to begin your listing input is you're going to click on this plus sign in the lower right-hand corner. When you click on that plus sign, what it's going to do is it's going to pull up a map for you with its respective property types. So kind of for ease of listing input, and just because of our volume of single family listings, that is what I'm going to demonstrate for you today. But all of these respective property types work in a very similar manner. They just have, different fields that are, specific for that respective property type. So if you go ahead and click on single family, what it's going to do is it's going to give you 3 options to search for a particular address or property. So you can search by the property address, you can search by the parcel ID, or you can search by the owner name. Now, if you don't have that information, or maybe you have a lot that has just been recently parceled off, or it's a brand new construction home that hasn't had an address assigned or a PID assigned yet, if you don't have that information, you can click on this bypass option here at the top. By clicking on bypass, what that will do is it'll create a completely blank listing for you. So it's going to navigate you to a new listing. It's going to assign it an MLS number, but none of the fields are going to be automatically filled in. So you do have that option if the system is unable to locate your property based on address, PID, or owner name. I'm going to show you how this autofill feature works. So I'm going to go ahead and just search by an address. So I'm going to just plug one in here. And what it'll do is it'll fetch my results. It's going to try to locate that particular property. And then I am going to select it. And actually, I don't think I want this because it's a multi-unit property. So let me see if I can find a different property here. Didn't like that address. But as you can see, like if you type in an incorrect address, it's going to just say, error, address not found. That initial address that I typed in was a multi-unit property, was an apartment building, and I want to focus on a single family home. So again, I simply just typed in the address, selected it from the drop down. The system attempts to locate the property, which then pulls up and gives me a nice Google Street View of the property, tells me the address, who the owners are, and the parcel ID. So what's really nice about that is that you can confirm that, yes, these are my clients. Yes, that is the address. Yes, that matches the PID that I have. If this all looks good, we're going to click on this little plus sign here on the property where it says create listing. So once you click on that, it's going to create a new listing for you. And it might take a moment for it to load, but it's going to eventually pop up here. And what it does is you can see that it immediately takes me into edit mode. And I'm in edit mode, and I know that because it says edit up here at the top. So I'm in edit single family. It's an incomplete listing. Here's my new MLS ID. I have errors because I haven't satisfied all the fields yet. And here's my address. So as you can see, it did autofill some information for me. That being the state, the county, the city, postal city, street number and name, and the school district here. So it does automatically fill in some of this information. And what it will also do is it'll attempt to pull in some of this tax information for you as well. So you can see that the PID is listed here, the tax year, is it a homestead, yes or no, the tax amounts, and any of this information that it is able to pull from the tax record, it will attempt to pull into the system. So that's why I like to use that autofill feature if you can, because it just saves you a few steps. It fills in a few pieces of this information, so you don't have to go hunting for it. But again, I'm in edit mode at this time. Right here at the top is the map. Because I did the autofill feature, it pinned the map for me. Now, if I want to verify that that map pin is in fact in the correct location, you're going to click on this little toggle map icon over here on the right-hand side. When I click on that, it's going to open up the map for me. And it has my latitude and longitude already assigned. It has the map pin placed. And what's nice is that you can zoom in a little bit, to confirm that, I know that it's the second structure in here on the block. But I can also flip to satellite view if I want, just to give me a little bit more of an advantage to make sure that this is in fact the property that I'm trying to target. You can also drag the pin. So you can grab the pin and drag it if you're not happy with where it's at. Or you can also type in the address. So if I type in the address here, Google Maps is going to try and locate the property for me. Well, it's supposed to. It doesn't look like it's working for me right now. So what it does is it just kind of gives me this highlighted gray area here. And usually right about in the center of this circle is where my property is located. So I'm like, all right, well, that's about the middle of that pin there. So it's approximate, but again, you should be able to really see where that property is here on the map if it's not, close enough to where you want it to be. And you can also drop your little guy here into the street view and confirm that, hey, here's where my pin is. This is the property. Like, this is where I want it to be. This is the property. It's a super handy tool here. It allows you to really confirm that you got your map pin placed accordingly and that you're good to go with that. And then if you are satisfied with that, you can just leave it be and move on. You can shrink the map back up here and then move on along in your listing. Now, a couple of the features that I want to draw your attention to here up at the top is this jump to. What's nice with this jump to section is that you can click this drop down and you can actually jump to different areas of the listing. So say that I'm like, I want to go down to the bed and bath area. If I click on that, it'll take me to that bed and bath area here in the listing. So then it'll take me there and I can go ahead and work on it and add any information that I want. And it's really nice because you can jump really all over the system with it and just kind of takes you where you need to go. You can also do this filtering, so then you can find the field. So maybe I'm looking for bed and bath again. If I type in bed, it'll pull up that field there for me. So just kind of a nice filtering feature, but definitely the jump to works pretty well. So as you're moving forward with your listing, you can go ahead and you can add information in here. It's in the incomplete status. So incomplete listings are saved in the system for 21 days. So essentially think of it like a scratch pad. You can add a listing in the system here because maybe you're prepping a property to go on the market. It'll retain it as an incomplete listing for 21 days. Now say that maybe you're on the 20th day and you know that you're not going to be ready to go tomorrow yet. What you can do is you can actually copy the incomplete listing. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill in a couple fields here while it's in the incomplete status, just because I can. And then I'm going to simply just save it as an incomplete listing for now. Should save it as an incomplete for me. And again, this is our test environment, so bear with me. So it saved it as an incomplete listing. I'm no longer in edit mode, and it's saved as an incomplete listing. Now, again, like I said, if you're concerned that you're reaching that 20th day and you're not going to be ready to go tomorrow, and you're afraid that you're going to lose your listing in the system from everything that you've worked on, what you can actually do is there's these two options up here called clone and copy. They both do the same thing with just a couple of exceptions. So copying a listing is going to copy this listing tab here. So right now I'm in this listing tab where all my listing data is. If I copy a listing, it's going to ask me if I want to copy it, and I can click the copy button. And what it will do is it'll create a new incomplete listing for me with a new MLS number, and it's going to reset that 21-day clock for me for that incomplete listing. However, that copy button only copies any information that is listed under this listing tab. Now, say that I've added photos and supplements, and I've added, a whole bunch of different documents under this media tab. If I have media and photos and other items under this media tab, you can use this clone option. So the clone option is going to do the same exact thing as copy. It's going to copy all of the data that you've input on this listing tab. But what cloning also does is it also copies forward all of the media and all of the open houses that you may have set up. So it's super handy because if you've already uploaded a ton of photos and you've added captions and you've done all of that work, you can use this clone option. It'll clone the listing into a new incomplete listing, assign it a new MLS number, and reset that 21-day clock. So just know that you have those options there if you get in a pinch and you're kind of running out of that 21-day limit for incomplete listings. I'm going to hop back into edit mode here. So I'm going to click on this little clipboard with the pencil icon. I am now in edit mode. You have different status options that you can change your listing to. So say that I want to prep my listing to go, either withheld or, coming soon. However, I want to, push this listing forward. Say that maybe I want to go coming soon. I'm going to go coming soon for a few days before I go active with the listing. So I'm going to change my listing from incomplete to coming soon. The system is going to prompt me to need to upload a document at this time. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to upload a copy of that coming soon document. So I'm going to click upload. It should take me to the files on my computer. I'm going to select a file, click open, and that document is now going to be added to my listing here. All right, so moving forward, it needs the expected on market date. So this wording has changed a little bit. I think it's currently called availability date in the system, but we've changed it to be expected on market date because availability date to us, it really refers to more like rentals when you're doing rental listings here. With coming soon listings, it's really the expected market date because with coming soon listings, you can actually go active sooner than the expected on market date if you need to, or you can push out your coming soon date as long as you're within the 21-day period. So again, now coming soon listings have a maximum limit to be in the coming soon status for 21 days. But maybe I'm pushing my date out just 10 days from now, but my sellers are not going to be ready 10 days from now. I can actually push that expected on market date out a little bit further as long as I'm within that 21-day window still. What we generally recommend is you revise their coming soon authorization form. So you just strike their original expected on market date and then insert the new expected on market date and then have them initial that form, just so you have some documentation that they're agreeing to pushing that date out. Same thing with pulling the date back. Maybe I'm thinking that my sellers are going to be ready 10 days from now, but they're actually ready 5 days from now. I would just suggest getting something in writing from them, whether it be that authorization form where you strike the date and insert the new date, or you've got some type of email or just some type of documentation that is there confirming that they are okay with you updating that date for their listing. So again, while I'm in this coming soon status, I'm going to have different fields that I need to fill out throughout the listing to get this to be able to save it as a coming soon listing. They're going to be highlighted with red text throughout the listing, or you can actually find them under this errors button here. If you click on the errors button, it's going to pull forward all of the red fields that you need to satisfy in order to save this listing. But again, if you can pull them forward and just fill them all out on this screen, or you can go back to all of the fields and kind of scroll through and add any necessary information. Because if you go to the errors screen, this is showing you just the at minimum fields that are required to save your listing as a coming soon listing. But if you go to the all fields, there are some fields that are not required with some information that you may choose that you may want to add to your listing. Any questions at this time? Let me go ahead and check the chat here. Doesn't look like I'm seeing anything coming through yet. Does anybody have any immediate questions at this time?
David, what is the rule of thumb as far as when your contract is signed? How quickly do you have to get your listing into the MLS?
Oh yes, you wanted me to touch on that. So it's 2 business days.
Please.
So if you actually have your contract signed, say like on a Friday, it's 2 business days. So you actually don't have to have your listing in until Tuesday, because they're not going to count Friday as day 1. Saturday and Sunday are not business days, but then Monday and Tuesday would be your business days. So it's 2 business days that you need to get your listing into the system. Now, if you go beyond that, It'll still allow you to input your listing into the system, but when you get things entered in, our rules department will get flagged that it's a late listing, and you'll get a little nudge from them telling you that, hey, like you need to get this in quicker. But again, that's 2 business days.
Perfect. And then as far as like coming soon and that kind of thing, would you recommend just doing an addendum just to be safe? So if they want to change the date, either they want to go live sooner, or they want to push it out, would you recommend doing an addendum just so that all the paperwork is in place and
if that's what, yeah, you can. So if that's what you want to advise as a brokerage, that, hey, fill out this change form or this addendum, however you want to do that, however you want to streamline that, we kind of leave it up to you. We don't have an MLS rule that tells you exactly what you need to follow in that circumstance. We just highly recommend that you get something in writing from your sellers indicating that they're agreeing to that new date. So that is how our rules department kind of words that. So we're not going to force you to necessarily fill out a completely new coming soon document, but we would highly recommend you either, you can edit it. If you edit that document, then you can strike that date and have them initial it, or yes, like you have mentioned, do an addendum and just have them sign that with the new date. So however you kind of want to streamline that for your agents, just get something in writing.
Yeah, and so for everyone who's on the Zoom, we do require an addendum.
So then, yeah, so
when any changes are made. So I just want to let our agents know that. Thanks, David.
Perfect. Yeah, not a problem. All right, so I'm going to hop back in here. And we're going to continue to move forward. I'm just making a couple notes here because I'm noticing a couple things in the system. So just bear with me here one moment. Thank you. I noticed a couple things as I'm going through this test environment that I feel need to be updated for enhancements before we release our new database. So I just wanted to jot them down here quick so I can notify the IT team. But nothing of seriousness, just kind of how some of the fields are aligned and how this drop down appears and stuff. I want them to enhance that. So, all right, so moving forward, I'm going to try and breeze through this quite quickly because you're going to get super bored sitting here watching me do data input. But again, you have a couple of options. You can click on this errors field and fill out those fields, or you can go back and you can kind of scroll through and fill out the fields that are red. So I'm going to go ahead and just push my expected on market date to be Thursday. We see a lot of listings get listed on Thursday and Friday before the weekend. So I'm going to input that information here. Then I'm just going to scroll through and I'm going to answer these required fields that are necessary. Your list price, your list date, I'm going to list it today. My expiration date, I'm going to push that down the road here a little bit. And then we do require, some form of compensation. You must enter in some form of compensation for your listing, whether it be a percentage or a dollar amount, however you want to navigate that, but you do have to put in that information. And I do know that this field's kind of wonky right now, and I apologize. I know this is something that our IT team is working on, but if you insert a value into buyer broker comp, facilitator comp is not required, or vice versa. If you enter in a value into facilitator comp, buyer broker comp is not required. So let me see if I just try and satisfy that here. So yeah, so then it'll satisfy those fields, but this isn't working as expected, and we full well know that. So, but just be aware that that'll be cleaned up, but you do have to put in a value of compensation. Right now, it should have your information as listed here. So you can see that it's got my office name, my office phone number, my name here. It didn't pull in a phone number for me because it technically isn't on my membership record, but as long as you have a preferred phone number on your membership record, it should pull in that phone number here, but I'm just going to type in a phone number regardless. Let's see here. So then it should satisfy that field. And again, just moving on, you've got to satisfy all the fields that have red text. not in foreclosure. As you answer them, they'll turn from red. The red will go away. And a new feature in our new system, which is going to look like this when our new database gets released. Right now, all of our rooms are just kind of in a list. Like it has like room 1, room 2, room 3, and they're all just sitting here kind of stagnant on the screen. Our new system is going to enable you to go ahead and add rooms as you need them. So you're going to click this plus sign over here on the right, and it'll allow you to add the rooms as you need them. So you don't necessarily have to fill in all of the fields for each of the rooms and stuff, which is actually really, really helpful to be able to just kind of go through and add exactly what you need rather than have to answer no to 4 of the rooms that are listed in that list because the particular property just doesn't have that type of room. So I'm just going to add a little bit of information here. I'm going to continue scrolling down, fill in some values. I'm just going to check the chat here real quick. So I saw a couple things came in here. Okay, perfect. They're just discussing the addendum that would be needed for updating that date. So again, I'm sorry. I know that this is kind of painful, but I'm just going to go through and satisfy these fields so then we can kind of move forward here. So I'm just selecting all the information about the property, the zoning type, the parking characteristics. It's got city sewer, city water, that type of information. And as you scroll through, it should be able to get everything satisfied. So now you can see that my errors are cleared up. I don't have any more red fields. That errors button is no longer red, and my save button is blue. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to click save. When I click save, it should now save it as a coming soon listing because I have satisfied all of those fields. So now you'll know that it's a coming soon listing because the status is going to change up here at the top in the header. So now I have saved this listing as a coming soon listing. And at this point in our production system, it would be getting pushed out to the matrix system, any of the front end systems. If your brokerage chooses to syndicate listings to websites, it is now being pushed out to those websites. Say that maybe you have some additional information that you need to add or something that you need to edit. You can come back into your listing here. I'm going to hop back out and actually go to my home page here. So I'm going to, and again, my homepage is kind of junked up because we have a bunch of test listings in here right now. But generally, you should be able to sort to find those listings that you're looking for based on status and when those listings have been added in the system. And you can also customize these filters here, and I can review that at the end after I'm done with the listing input. But one thing that you can also do is you can search by the address up here in the toolbar or the MLS number. So you can see that I've got my MLS number here. I'm going to click on it and it should take me right into that listing. So you can search for it using that search bar at the top, or here, it was actually a coming soon listing. So maybe if I actually sorted by coming soon, I should be able to see my coming soon listing that I just added today. It's right here. So you can also click on it here. Click on that listing, it'll take you into it. So if you have any edits or anything that you need to change on this, you would want to click on this little edit icon, and it'll take you into that listing. And then this is where you can go ahead and make those respective edits if you need to. So if you just got to add, maybe you've got to add something else to your directions here, or there's any other information that you need to add. Again, it's flagging me, it's telling me that I have an error, but again, it's this compensation field that we are aware that is not working appropriately. So we'll make sure that this is obviously cleared up. So I'm just going to satisfy that again, and then I'm going to go ahead and save it again. And then if I scroll down here, you should see that those characters that I added in that directions field, I made that edit and it retained those saves, those edits here. So any questions at this point?
David, when you put your coming soon listing in, did it require you to upload the coming soon doc?
Yes, it did.
Okay, just checking. I missed that part, so I just wanted to check. Thank you.
Yep. So as soon as you flip that status from like incomplete to coming soon, that pop-up came right up in front of the screen there, and it requires me to upload a copy of that coming soon document. So I uploaded my PDF document and saved it, and then,
Awesome.
then it was there available to me. One thing that I'm noticing right now that I'm not really happy about that I would love to show you is that once that document is uploaded, there should be a little icon over here in the right-hand margin for me to view that document. For whatever reason, it's missing. That is one of the things that I noted here on my notes here. But you should be able to view that document here, and then you should also be able to upload a new one. So say that maybe you want to adjust this date. My clients are ready to go, coming soon tomorrow. Well, what I can do is then I would be able to edit that coming soon document, and I could actually re-upload it because there would be an upload icon here. Uploading that new document would override the current document, and then it would be correct, based on this new expected on market date. So again, I apologize. That is something that I obviously am noticing now as I'm in the system testing. So I want to make sure that my IT team is aware of that. All right, so I'm going to hop back out here. I'm going to just move this listing into, actually, I'm going to hop over to media. So you guys might be familiar with media because even the lowest level permission level has access to do media. The lowest level permission level of agent subscriber can do move the map pin, upload media, and add open houses. But what you can do is you can slide over to this media area here. And this is where it gives you that opportunity to add photos, supplements, and virtual tours. It defaults to photos first. And then you can click this plus sign in the lower right-hand corner. And it's going to give you that option to go ahead and select some photos from the system. Let me just see if I can find something here that we can add. So I'm going to select a few photos here. And what's nice is that our system is unlimited photos. So there's no limit on photos. And you can select, you can upload several at once. So I'm just going to select a few here. I'm going to click open. If your brokerage participates in this, it's a copyright notice. So it asks did the subscriber take all photos currently being added to the listing? This means that if you personally, as the agent, took the photos with your camera or your phone, you would answer this as yes, if you would like. So if you answer this as yes, what that does is it puts a little RMLS watermark in the lower corner of the image. We extend copyright protections to our agents. So if our agents took the photos themselves, we extend copyright protections to you as an agent, puts a little RMLS watermark in the lower right-hand corner, excuse me, and then we protect you in that right. If you had a professional photographer take the photos for you, you would simply just answer this as no. We do not extend copyright protections to professional photographers. Once I click save, it should upload my photos here. So you're going to see that it pulls in my photos here. Maybe I don't like the order that they're in. Maybe I want my garage to be moved up here. You have a couple of different options. You can actually drag the photo into position and drop it, or you can shift it, or you can actually type in the number where you want it to go to. So again, you can grab it and drag it and drop it, or say I want this to be in position 5, I can type in 5, click away, and it should shift it into position 5 for me. For whatever reason, it's not. I'm going to refresh my web page here. Now I'm actually missing some photos, which I'm going to make note of that too. Again, I really apologize, guys. It should not be this bumpy, but they are redesigning that database, which is causing some of these issues. So again, you should be able to drag and drop the photos or type in here where you want that number photo to be, and it'll shift it into that position. What you can also do is if you click this, you can see that it uploaded with all of these captions. I can come in here and I can manually remove these captions, or I can click on the photo and I can come in here and manually remove and add captions. Or if I want, I can actually click this all button. It's going to select all of the photos for me. It's going to fill in the little blue circle here, indicating that it's selected. And I can click this little icon up here where it says remove captions. If I click on that, I can remove all of the captions and it should clear them out from underneath the photo. Again, it doesn't look like it's doing that for me, but in a perfect world, it would. You can also rotate photos. So if you select your photo, you can go ahead and use this little rotate icon and it would rotate your photo for you. Or there's also a rotate icon down here on your photo for you as well. I think it's more convenient to add captions in this larger view when you click on the photo, because then you can see how many characters you have left, and you can go ahead and you can type in here. Once you're done with your caption, you can navigate to the next photo and add your caption and move on from there. So that's media. Supplements works in a very similar fashion. You can go ahead and add your PDF document here. Let me just go ahead and grab something. Just going to grab a document here. You can indicate it as agents only or all, whoever you want to be able to view that supplement. And that supplement uploads here. You have the option to print it. You can remove the caption, rename it. If you click on it, it'll enlarge that supplement so you can view it. You can change who it's viewable by. But again, pretty straightforward. You just kind of have to click into it, kind of moves you through that process. And of course, you can remove those supplements and photos if you choose to do so. Over here in the virtual tours, again, you click that plus sign here. You upload that web link for your virtual tour, and then you can add a description for it and save it in here. That'll upload that virtual tour for you on your listing. Moving over to open houses, again, you're going to get very familiar with this plus sign. It's pretty uniform across the board. You click it to add a listing, you click it to add photos, supplements, and virtual tours. You also click it to add an open house. So you can go ahead and click on that plus sign. It'll allow you to choose a public open house, a broker open house, a virtual public or virtual broker open house. You can actually change the agent too, which is super handy. So say that maybe you have an agent that's assisting you, or you work on a real estate team. You can go ahead and clear this out and you can actually assign it to somebody else if you choose to do so. Excuse me. So I'm going to see if I'm going to trying to assign it to one of my colleagues here because I'm logged in as a staff member, but it's not pulling in right now. But anyway, you can assign it to somebody else in your office if you choose to do so. You can choose to do a series. So if you've got like new construction and they have open houses frequently, throughout the week, you can set up a series of open houses, or you can do a one-time open house. You can throw it on the day, your respective time that you wish it to be. Then if you're adding any drinks or refreshments in your little description here, you click the save button up here. Once it allows you to do so, it's not going to allow me to do so because it has sensing an error here. But then you would be able to save that open house and come in here and manage that if you choose to do so. So that's kind of really listing input in a nutshell. I know that I probably went quite quickly and it's quite broad, but really the biggest things to keep in mind is, plus sign here, choose your respective property type, search by address or PID. If you don't have that information, you can click bypass. And what it'll do is it'll create a blank listing for you. You can fill out that blank listing and save it as such. And then you've got those other tabs across the top of your listing, which will allow you to add your media, which is your photos, supplements, and virtual tours. And then over here, there's the open houses tab as well, where it allows you to add those open houses. Any questions at this point? Let me show you another little helpful piece of information. And then I'll open it back up for questions again. So in the system by default defaults to single family, active listings, and any listings that have been added or have been timestamped in the past 30 days. Now, if you want to change this default, maybe you do a lot of multifamily, or maybe you do a lot of lots and land. Instead of having to come in here and select lots and land, maybe I want to see my pending listings too, and I want to see all of them for all time. Or maybe I just want to see the last 90 days. Instead of having to come in here every time you log in to change these sort options, you can actually customize these so it retains them in the system. Where you do that is you do that up here under the little down arrow next to your name. If you click that down arrow and then click on preferences, it'll take you into this section here, which again, it gives you the option to do your front end of choice. But down here under the homepage tab, it allows you to customize your homepage. So you can change what your defaults are. So down here where your listing type is, maybe you want to see, again, single family and lots and land. You can choose like active and pending. You want to see all of those particular listings, and you want to see everything from the last 6 months. If you save these preferences in here, what that'll do is that is what you will see on your home page in the system every time you log in. So rather than having to fumble and kind of mess with those sort options, you can change them to your defaults to your desire. Same thing with the sort by. If you want it in ascending or descending order, you can even customize, by city. There's a card and list view. You can, and then even for auto pop, maybe there's a certain county that you primarily work in. You can default your county to be Hennepin. So then every time you go to autofill, Hennepin is already filled in. And you can even default if you want it to be address, owner, or parcel ID to pop up for you for your respective desire. So just super helpful. You can really kind of customize it and get it to be what you want it to be, and just really kind of make it be what you want it to be and just help you out and maybe help your workflow a little bit better. So here is where we can switch from the list and card view. There's a little toggle switch here. You just click on it, and then ascending or descending order here. There's different ways that you can sort by, and then you can even expand your page size to see additional listings beyond like the default 10, I think is where it starts. So super helpful. I see a couple questions came in, so I'm going to take a look at those. A specific place for, so the required documents, so I've got a couple of questions here. I've got required documents for your sellers to sign, and then a specific link to where you can find listing of all the rules that we can review at any time. So I'm going to show you, so your documents, and again, I don't know how well versed you are in this, but the forms and documents, you can really kind of locate them in 2 places. They're going to be the Minnesota Realtors forms or in Transaction Desk. You can get that here on that link on your main page in Matrix, or it's under the tools link here. If you click on that, it's going to take you into the Transaction Desk system. Over here on the left-hand side, there's this forms icon. If you click on that, this is where all of the forms live. So if you're looking for a particular form, whether it be an input form, or if it is a contract, you can find those forms in here. We do not manage any of the contracts or any of the legal forms. Those are all managed by the State Association of Realtors. So the Minnesota State Association of Realtors manages all of the forms in here. The only forms that we manage as an entity are found under this little folder here that says NorthStar MLS. So this is where you're going to find the listing input forms that will aid you in adding your listings into the ad edit system. You'll find your withhold form, and you'll find your coming soon forms. Those are probably the 3 main things that we really have that we manage as NorthStar MLS. It's your coming soon form, your withhold form, and then your listing input forms. So that's where you can find them here in the Transaction Desk system. Now you can also find these on our main website. Some of these forms are available to you. So say that Transaction Desk is down, or you're in a pinch, or you just need a form. If you go up to Resources and then go to Forms General Information, It'll take you in here and it gives you some information regarding some of the forms, some contact information for us. Well, there's a link here at the very top that says forms in PDF format. If you click on that, it'll take you down to the NorthStar MLS forms that I just showed you in Transaction Desk, except for here, they're available to you in PDF form. So if you click on one of these, it's just going to open it up as a PDF, and it's going to show you that listing input form, but they're accessible here on our main website too. All right, second question was rules, I believe. I'm going to do my best to answer that question for you, but I am not the rules department. So the listing rules, for one, if you ever have any questions regarding anything, give us a call or shoot us an email. You can email the help desk or call the help desk or call the or call the rules department or email the rules department. The rules department email is simply just rules@northstarmls.com. So if you ever have anything that's rules related, you can call them or email them, or you can also call them at 651. I'm sorry. I'm trying to blank. What is our phone number? It's 651-251-3210. So again, that takes you directly to the rules department. It's 651-251-3210. So if you ever have anything rules related, you can always contact us and ask. But you can also reference some rules information here on our main website. Up here under rules and regulations. So resources, rules, and regulations. And again, it has their phone number listed here that I just gave you. And then here's some just kind of main rules. So again, here's that enter a listing within 2 business days, enter a photo within 2 business days. So these are kind of some of the main rules that people really focus in on. And then, make sure that your supplements don't have any like promotion or advertising included with them. But then down here under the, I think there's forms, there's different rules forms available in here. There's documentation here. So all of this information is available on our website at northstarmls.com. And then under that, resources, and then rules and regulations. So you can find this information on our main website, which should then hopefully answer most of your questions. This is a pretty hefty manual here about rules and regulations. So it's kind of handy to have. It looks like they even just recently updated it within the last couple months, which is really nice. But then you can scroll through this information here in this document. So that's where you can really find some of those rules. I saw another question come through here. Let me see. So Wisconsin forms. Unfortunately, no, they're not in Transaction Desk because Wisconsin does not have a contract with Transaction Desk. So the forms are not available in our Transaction Desk system, unfortunately. Trust me, we have tried. We have pushed for it. We, obviously want that collaboration, but they're simply not available in the Transaction Desk system. However, again, if you go to Forms General Information and then do Forms in PDF format, there's a link here for the Wisconsin Forms website. That should take you to the Wisconsin forms here, where you can at least access them if you have them in here. I think that Wisconsin might use something like DocuSign or Dotloop or something. They use a different system, the Wisconsin State Association of Realtors. So, but unfortunately, they're not available in Transaction Desk. Are there any other questions at this time? Well, with that, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Again, I know I really breezed through that. But again, do know that the help desk is always available at your disposal if you have questions with stuff, if you have issues with anything, if you're trying to, get, just simply need some help, you're running into problems, give us a call. You know, you can give us a call, we'll help you out, send us an email. One thing I didn't actually show you is that in the ad edit system, down here in the lower right-hand corner, there's this little informational eye that has a help and feedback. If you click on that, it'll allow you to ask a question or you know, or leave some feedback. So this is another way that you can contact us. Be aware that this is a Zendesk ticketing system. What it does is it opens up a ticket in our Zendesk system, which we do monitor. But if you're looking for a very prompt answer or you're trying to work through something, I would highly suggest sending us an email or calling us, because then you're going to get an answer much quicker than probably this Zendesk ticket. If it's something that's not as pressing, you certainly can submit a Zendesk ticket, but you can see that it kind of drops into our bins here. And what it does is it'll drop into our Zendesk ticketing system. Whereas if you send us an email, we're going to respond to you much quicker. So that's what I would recommend. But it's just also another feature within Ad Edit that is able to be used at your disposal. I'll hang out on the line here until about 12 o'clock. If anybody else has any other questions. But again, at this time, I do appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you so much, David.
Thank you, David.
No problem.
David, it looks like Lori Larson had a question. She said, why isn't the builder field required on a new build?
Oh, I'm sorry, I must have missed that.
No, that's okay. I just saw it. She just came in.
Okay.
And I think she sent it to me privately, so that's why you wouldn't have seen
Okay.
it.
Why isn't the builder field required on a new build? I think it is. I thought it
I think it is once you switch out of coming, like when you're putting in a listing, certain fields aren't read in coming soon or withheld.
And
But
withheld
once you,
for sure, coming soon, they should be. So coming soon should
Okay.
have all of the same requirements as an active listing, because coming
Okay.
soon listings automatically go active on their expected market date.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's right.
So it should be required, but withheld, it may not be required. But let me just take a look. I'm just concerned now because let me take a look here. If you're indicating that it's a new development.
I asked that question because I swear when I look at a new build on the system, it does not always list the builder.
It doesn't have the
Sometimes it's
information.
in
Okay.
the description, but not in the builder field. And I don't understand why that isn't retained for the life of the property. Because it's handy to know, was it a custom builder who built the home 10 years
Right.
ago?
Yeah, because see, even here when I do under construction, it wants me to do a projected completion date, but it's not requiring anything else. Let me look at, just bear with me, I'm looking at our production system now. Because then I can certainly ask that question in an attempt to get a better answer for you.
Yeah.
Again, I unfortunately am just not the rules department, so
Yeah,
I don't know
I know.
what the underlying rule or determination with that is.
And I don't necessarily need a response, but my input would be, it sure would be handy.
Sure. Yeah, no, I totally get that. Let me just see here. Yeah, it doesn't make it required. It just wants the projected completion date. It doesn't require that builder information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can certainly ask. I don't know why it's not. But but I'll certainly ask and at least put in that suggestion to make that information available, and then also available for the life of the listing too, just to see what my team has to say. I'm sure there's some type of reason, or there was some type of board decision that it is the way it is. But I will definitely pass that along.
Thank you. I
No
appreciate it.
problem.
Thanks for the presentation.
David, I have one last question for you. So with a withheld listing, it's still the same rules, right? It still needs to be entered in the MLS within 2 business days of signing the contract, correct?
Correct. So, I mean,
Okay.
ideally, yes. The reality of it is that I think our rules department gives a little bit more leeway with withheld listings, but only
Okay.
withheld listings.
Okay.
Because I mean, they still want you to enter it in, but if you're off by like a day or two, they're generally
Sure.
not going to fine you. Now, if you're
Sure.
entering a coming soon or active listing that's late, they're probably going to fine you. So, that's my input on it. But yes, the same
Okay.
is applicable. You should be entering it in within 2 business days. Get it in there with the appropriate dates. But the reason why they're a little bit more lenient with it is because only, office staff, the listing agent, and RMLS staff can see those withheld listings in the system, because nobody
Sure.
else can see them. I think they offer a little bit more cushion with it, but ultimately,
Okay.
be getting them in still within those 2
Perfect.
business days.
Perfect. Well, David, it looks like it's just me and you left, so I'm going to let you go on with your day, but I want to thank you for a great presentation, and I appreciate all of your help with getting our agents, that information they need in order to
Yeah.
input their own listings.
Well, and let me know if you want me to do this again in a few weeks or a month from now or something. I mean, I certainly can.
Yeah, and we may have you do that. I'll
I'm
check with
totally
the
okay doing
leadership
that.
team.
And then at that point, I would be a little bit more happy with my result of the system. I do apologize
Sure.
that there was just a couple of kind of quirky things that I know that they're working on still to get cleaned up. And it frustrated me because like I've been testing the system over the past month, and now as I'm like demonstrating to you, I'm seeing some things